maybe that'll come up. He's working on some secret stuff. He can't tell you everything right now. He can't reveal all his secrets right away. Okay. He can't tell you everything he's doing. It's got to be a bit of a surprise, or else all the hype is lost. All right. Hey, everyone. Exactly. Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. Thank you for tuning in on YouTube to this awesome, live, wonderful, and exclusive Twitch interview. Check us out on Twitch, twitch.tv/theneedledrop, where we're doing interviews all the time with none other than videographer Cole Bennett of Lyrical Lemonade fame. How are you doing, dude?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming through.
Appreciate it. How you doing?
I'm doing good. You know, just
what'd you eat for breakfast?
I had a smoothie for breakfast. You know, bananas and some oats and some kale, and there was like some chocolate protein powder in there. That's what I had for breakfast. That was my breakfast routine this morning. That was me. You know, before I throw a question at you, I think I'm going to throw more of a statement at you, or just more of like an idea, and I want to know if you disagree with this. Would you say that currently you're one of the most hardworking people in the music industry? Is that true?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. I agree, and we're going to get into that work ethic later. You know, not to spoil too much, but because we were talking about it a little bit, you know, is there anything that you know, just a hint that you want to drop in terms of anything that, you know, you're working on right now, or you have coming out around the corner that we can be excited about, you know, without giving too much away, maybe?
Yeah. It's going to be a big December. Mm-hmm. As of right now, there are 3 videos coming out in December. I can't say what they are, mm-hmm. but they're all very special in their own way.
And has the pandemic situation, I mean, I know that you've been putting out content super regularly, like throughout the year, but right. In terms of like the logistics of what you do and how you're going about doing it, and sort of the ease at which you do it, and the creative process too, I mean, has the pandemic impacted that in a large way, you know, your ability to get stuff done or achieve certain ideas or work with certain artists that you've been wanting to work with?
Absolutely. Right when the pandemic hit and, you know, we officially went on lockdown and there was all the travel orders and whatnot, luckily I had like just shot like 7 videos. So, you know, when everything really hit the fan, I was good on just having content loaded up, and it actually gave me some time to, you know, edit them and work on those and plan a proper rollout. But in terms of getting back to work, with the pandemic, it's just you know, readjusting, and there's just a lot of like COVID protocol and like safety regulations that you have to do on set. You have to have smaller crews, and you know, it's just adjusting the way you work. But it was a bit of an adjustment, but it's I don't know. I think it made things better in a way, because you're working more critically, and there's just more on the line, and you just in any situation where you have to work smarter, I think always creates for a better product.
Let's talk quickly about the music video as kind of like a concept, because obviously that's sort of your canvas at the end of the day, and that's what people know you for. And the music video and you know, all sorts of different moving visuals attached to music has become such an essential promotional tool in the internet age. I mean, I think we saw that peak in a way during like the MTV era, and I think as we've transitioned into the YouTube era, and, you know, further TikTok and so on and so forth, that's only intensified to the point where it seems like the music video as a concept, it's almost like an essential part of the album promotion recipe. I mean, would you say at this point, if an artist isn't thinking about a music video concepts, visual concepts of any sort, that they're not taking their career seriously?
Yes, in a way, I'd say it depends with every artist. It's always different, but yes, I mean, a music video is such an important part of your album and your rollout and your music. I mean, it puts a face and an image and a visual to the music that people love, and I think it paints the picture for people. So I'd say it's definitely important, and it allows you to further engage with your audience and, you know, create the story. And you know, for a fan base, there's nothing you want more than that. You know, you want to follow and you want to be involved in it all, and you want to see it come to life. And I think it's very important.
And at this point, do you feel like we've, you know, as somebody who's kind of like on the cutting edge of this, and as somebody who is so influential in this medium right now, do you feel like we've reached almost like the end of history in this regard, to where the music video and the music are so like one and the same and so attached that they can't possibly, you know, sort of like be so, you know, linked to each other and anymore? Do you feel like there are still ways in which, you know, video can continue to tell an even newer story and break ground and, you know, sort of do even greater things for, you know, kind of the music world?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of ways to keep pushing the narrative forward in the music video world. I think eventually with time, kind of like Kanye did with the Runaway film. I think album visuals could be the next step in, you know, an artist really taking it that extra mile. And I think any size artist could do it. And I think it could create that narrative and take it to the next level, and something that feels like a movie, like a short film. Now, do people have the attention span for that? I don't know. But, you know, artists who have their core cult fan bases, I think this could definitely be a way to further engage their audience and take the visual aspect to the next level. But in terms of where music videos are today and how integrated they are with the actual music, what happens from here is it's up to the people. And there's so many different factors that play into it, you know, the Spotify's and the Apple Musics and the YouTubes. You know, Spotify comes out and starts putting out videos, which I know they're trying to do, and having their own version of a music video, whatever it may be, then that may make music videos even bigger. Or, you know, say YouTube wants to go more in a streaming direction and less, you know, and compete with the Spotify's and Apple Musics. You know, it's crazy how much influence these big platforms, like these streaming platforms, really have. And I think they can shift what that's going to be. But at the end of the day, it's up to the audience and the viewer to you know, pick what that's going to be. It's based on interest.
Yeah, I mean, that's before I go into the next question, I feel like that's an interesting comment to kind of dive into. I mean, as somebody who's also on YouTube and has been on YouTube for a long time, do you yourself, when you're creating for the platform, when you're uploading something to the platform, do you feel like you're being given the opportunity to kind of take full advantage, be creative, just kind of, you know, be the creator and the controller of your own destiny? Or do you feel like totally at the mercy of whatever YouTube and the algorithm might be doing at any given day?
That's a great question. I kind of stand on both sides. I understand that all the content that I upload goes on YouTube, and I also understand that all the content that I upload, I don't own. You know, this is owned by the artist. You know, it's all copyrighted music that I'm lucky enough to, you know, be selected to work on as the director. So, you know, I think it's just building that loyalty to the audience, and you know, if whatever were to happen, I'd hope that they would follow Lyrical Lemonade wherever it may go, and even if that's creating our own video streaming platform, which is something I've also thought of for music videos, for people to upload without having to think about being at the mercy of, you know, a greater platform, and just kind of just free running. I don't know. That's a great question.
Moving on to the work ethic stuff that I was alluding to earlier. I mean, we've got a lot of creatives in the audience for sure. A lot of musicians, a lot of producers, and, you know, people who are visual artists as well. And I think it might be interesting for a lot of them to know how exactly, you know, you self-started in all of this. Like, how and at what age did you, you know, start shooting and kind of began finding your way into, you know, sort of this music video realm and deciding this was the direction you wanted to move in?
Right. I always loved music, rap music in particular, and I took a multimedia class in high school where you film on your phone or whatever camera the class will allow you to get, and you make skits and um, project based stuff. And then I had so much fun with it, and I loved watching music videos. I was like, why don't I blend these two interests and try to see if I can make a music video? So I had some friends, and where I was like, you guys make music and I'll do the video. We'll both kind of just practice this together and see what happens. And one thing led to the next, and I really realized I had a passion for it. And I just worked with whoever wanted to work with me. And, that was great practice. And I got to learn how to move and how to operate, and, that DIY lifestyle really, when you throw yourself into something, you have no option but to learn if you're passionate about it. And that's what I've realized in any venture that I've gone in or tried out or whatever it's been. It's just if you really want it and you throw yourself into it and you talk to the right people and you ask questions and you just don't feel stupid. Just say whatever say whatever you want, ask whatever you want, throw yourself into situations, and you're going to learn. And I think that's kind of what worked for me. I wanted it so bad. YouTube was my best friend in terms of tutorials and things like that. If I had any problems, why can't I see through the viewfinder right now? How do I adjust? What's ISO mean? Like all these things, like really basic level things that, it's all on the internet. And then when I went to college, I dropped out my beginning of my sophomore year a few years ago, but my freshman year, the first semester, I studied digital cinema. And I remember I was in class, and there was just such a way of teaching, and a way of learning too. And it wasn't my style. There was so many preliminary steps to doing something that was really, really easy. But and I remember there was one thing that was said where I was like, I can't do this. I think I was in a screenwriting class, and the professor had said, it takes 10 years to be a director. You have to be a PA, and then you got to work your way up and through all these different positions on a set. And I was just like, I'm not going to wait 10 years. And like, I was like, this just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I've learned everything that I've learned so far from YouTube, and the things I'm learning, there's a right and a wrong way with the way it was being taught. That's how it was being presented. And I was like, there's no right or wrong way with anything. And that was my mentality. And then I switched to communications just because I was like, I want to be in school still. I would love to get a degree. So I was like, I'm going to learn about people and just, sociology and things like that. So that's what I did. And then things were going well, and it got to the point where it was school or Lyrical Lemonade, and I had to make that sacrifice.
And at what point, because, Lyrical Lemonade is in many respects also a business, we're talking about, you sort of learning the ropes and allowing your creative juices to kind of take you wherever they did. But at what point does Lyrical Lemonade turn into like an actual functioning business? And, you're not just being creative, but you're making sure that this thing is solvent as a brand and actually like generating revenue and making sure that, I guess, at the end of the day, you're not getting fucked over and just like working for peanuts.
Right. I'd say a big turning point in my career and in Lyrical Lemonade as a whole, I was throwing shows. So like when I got to when I started going to school, I was finally living in Chicago. Because before I was living an hour outside of the city. So I'd thrown one show while I was, in high school, an hour away. And I came and facilitated this free small show that I rented out this venue for $100 for. And then I would throw these small shows, and I kind of got to learn the business side of things more, P&L and just small things early on. And then I threw a Lil Uzi show in 2016, and it was his first time in Chicago. And I remember I was just at a point where I was like, I was at that point I was setting milestones and goals off of the venues in Chicago. You know, like I was like, I want to do a show at this venue at Reggie's Rock Club, which is like a staple in Chicago. And I was like, I really one day want to throw a show at the Metro in Chicago, which is a 1,200 person cap. And it was like, you know, that seemed impossible. And I remember I was emailing them and they're like, yeah, like we're in, you know, like send us details on here's the price and here's how everything works. And it was just throwing yourself in and figuring it out. And I had to learn how to get like event insurance and all these things that I didn't know. And I remember day of the show, I was like, it's funny. I had my one of my friends dress up in a suit, and because he had a Suburban. I was like, I want you to dress up in a suit, and you're gonna pick Uzi up from the airport, and act like you're a driving service. You know what I mean? And because I didn't have the money to afford these things, and I was like, you know, we need to appear professional. So we did that, and I'll never forget that. And then I even had one of my friends, because I was like, we might need extra security at the venue, but like, I don't want to pay the venue for extra security. So I had one of my, you know, my bigger friends, I made him a security t-shirt, a Lyrical Lemonade security t-shirt. And I remember as soon as he walked onto the stage, like the venue, like the security, they threw him out. They're like, we can't have anyone that's not our security acting as security. So it was just things like that. It was like being a kid and like trying things out, but you're never too old to like learn and try. You know, a lot of people would be like, you're an idiot for doing that. Or like people in the industry would say that if they saw me trying those things, but those are things that worked for me. And those are the things that taught me a lot.
Yeah. I mean, it's trial and error, you know, it's learning from your mistakes. And, you know, to sort of push the questions I'm asking further, I mean, look, there are videographers out there, and there are people who are really successful in that business with their own brand and are well known in the industry too, just like you are. But what makes Lyrical Lemonade really stand out is simultaneously, like it's also known for taste making too. You know, you're not just known for the music videos that you do. You're also known for the artists that you put on. You know, you're known for working with Juice WRLD. You're known for working with Lil Tecca. You're known for, you know, working with Jack Harlow and a plethora of other artists too, who, you know, appeal to a certain generational shift in music and have a certain sound. You know, a lot of the artists that you've worked with over the years operate pretty heavily in the whole emo trap thing too. I mean, there's I think a pretty consistent sound and style to not all, but many of the artists that you work with too. So, I mean, you know, at what point do you decide to, I guess, start driving things in a way where you're like, I want to support or work with, you know, certain types of artists or certain types of music and like really use my platform to expose my audience to something, you know, artistically speaking?
I guess I didn't realize that, you know, it was taste making or that we are really driving an audience with the video releases until it kind of started happening. I think, you know, obviously working with Famous Dex was a huge kickoff point for Lyrical Lemonade. Cause we were just having fun and we were putting out content all the time and there was no business involved in anything. You know, it was just like, we were two kids making fun videos and putting it out for the world. And, you know, that was it. There was no label. There was hardly management. It was just me and Dex having fun. And I think that helped Lyrical Lemonade create an initial identity, I'd say, in just like consistency and like having content and being able to expect something fun and flavorful with every release. And then from there, you know, just working with artists and, you know, they just wanted to release the video on the channel. And obviously they own the music and, you know, receive all the money from it. So it was just like a win-win. You know, here's this place where people can go for a new, fresh sound, and here's a platform. Let's have fun with it. And, you know, I didn't realize that it was this taste-making thing, like I was saying, until, you know, the Skies thing was, you know, when the Red Roses video came out with Lil Skies, that was a big moment just because like I got to see the internet really all come together on something that they appreciated as something new and fresh. And then, you know, the Lil Xan video, I remember when Betrayed came out, it hit 1 million views in 24 hours. And I was just like, what's going on? Like, you know, and before you know it, in that same month, I was doing interviews with people like Rolling Stone and all these people, and it just happened so quick. And I didn't realize that there was a melting pot of I mean, that was 2017, late 2016. That was, you know, the whole SoundCloud era, and like streaming is now becoming a thing, but like the underground is very much alive still. There was just so much going on at that point, and I didn't even realize that in some ways Lyrical Lemonade, I don't want to say was at the forefront of it, but we were very much involved in all of it. And it was just, it just kind of happened, you know, you just find yourself in that scenario. You know, it's just passion and having fun, and, you know, a change and a shift in the culture.
No, I mean, you definitely were at the forefront of it. And now that you're sort of on the other side of that, and, you know, still existing and thriving, when you sort of embark on a new project, you know, do you see it as more than just like, oh, you know, this is another music video I'm working on? I mean, many people are also going to see it as like an endorsement too, because if it's some artist that nobody knows, you know, hypothetically, like just because it's a Lyrical Lemonade video, they'll check it out, they'll jump on it, especially if it's got a compelling visual or a, you know, thumbnail that jumps out at them.
Yeah. Sorry, can you ask the question again?
Oh, I guess I'm just sort of wondering as to whether or not at this point, when you do videos, like especially for newer artists, like do you see it as sort of like an endorsement in a way? You know, This is like a Lyrical Lemonade sort of approved kind of artist, because you know that you have that built-in fan base that is going to try something new out because it's a Lyrical Lemonade video in a way.
Right. Yeah, I definitely understand the strength of Lyrical Lemonade video and the platform that the channel provides, but I try not to think of it too much as like this is Lyrical Lemonade endorsed or anything like that. I think a lot of what I do, and even some of the songs that I decide to shoot and choose to shoot, it's just always me wanting to try something new and what I'm connected to. You know, I've done a whole lot of videos that didn't perform nearly as well as other videos. And, you know, and at the same time, I had opportunities to shoot way bigger songs, but it comes down to just doing what you want to do and what you love doing. Obviously you have to be aware, from a business standpoint of, just what something might do or what its potential could be. But at the same time, you gotta have fun with it and just put yourself in new situations. I think the Danny Towers video that just came out is a great example of that. It's not rap or hip hop, but it was something that I felt connected to and that was different, and I thought showed his versatility. And it was something that kind of brought me out of my comfort zone, and just genre wise, but it was all in this, in the same field. It's a friend of mine. He's very much a rapper, but he can also show this other side. Or even from a shooting technique, the Leroy So Done video that I put out like a month ago, we shot that all on film, like actual rolls of film, and on prime lenses. And I noticed I was kind of getting attached to like zoom lenses and shooting digital. So I was like, let me just throw myself into something that makes me uncomfortable, and I'm going to learn something and I'm going to have fun. And that's kind of what I did with the Danny video. It was like, this isn't rap, but I love it. Let me just throw myself in here and just try something. And like just what I was saying about, how I got into shooting and different areas of business ventures in which I do, it's from just, let me throw myself in there and learn and see what it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, it does feel like with every video, there's some different sort of quirk with it, be it an overt one or like a subtle one. I mean, it could be anything from like the color palette to even just like, we're going to do a different aspect ratio here. Like, yeah, exactly. It's just like going to be, like a square aspect ratio, which is, it's rare that you even see a music video like that these days. But, I'm sure it definitely like changes your perspective in terms of like what you're framing and what you're going to put in the video and where. And it seems like you try to challenge yourself with something different with each video.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Moving on from there, and this is also going a little bit back to what you were saying earlier. I mean, the brand has gotten to the point where people must be knocking on your door all the time. And as you said, opportunities come up to work with much bigger artists than you have in the past. And if you look at the back catalog, you've taken advantage of some of those opportunities. You know, you've done the Kanye Melly video, you've done the Blueface Cardi, you've done the Eminem video as well. But, you know, in the vast majority of the Lyrical Lemonade catalog, it seems like, you know, you're coming back again and again to the artists who it seems like you have the most passion for, you know, be it a Juice or be it a Ski Mask, you know, who you come back to again and again. How personally do you find that balance, and sort of like what drives you at this point? You know, is it mostly like being able to have the creative control and sort of do whatever visuals you want to do? Is it sort of chasing after that big name that you haven't worked with yet? Or is it, you know, just sort of like platforming songs that you love the most, you know, or just like sounds that are kind of interesting you at this point?
Yeah, I think it's definitely platforming songs that I love in my playlist, and hopefully, you know, opening up someone's ear to, you know, something that I hear that, you know, someone else might not. But I'd say also, just from a visual standpoint, you know, you kind of set up a line of challenges periodically. Like, you know, a couple months ago, if you go and watch a lot of my more recent videos, I'm doing a lot of stuff that is specific to color palettes and things of that sort, you know. Yeah, so it's like
the melodic
training
video,
myself. Yeah, exactly.
The melodic video definitely stood out to me in that way.
Yep. And just like coordinating wardrobe with set design and emotion, what a color means, and just like, let me try this because I love color and I think that it's what makes a video pop. Let me really focus on this right now. Or, you know, also something I'm trying to do more in a subtle way is have loose storylines and, you know, have a true flow and journey throughout a video, which is something I'm, you know, gradually trying out more because I want to get into filmmaking, to narrative filmmaking, you know, where I used to just shoot a song in 7 different locations and cut it up to make it look cool, which is something I still love doing from time to time because, you know, I love just straight performance videos sometimes. But I think, I don't know, kind of setting a new goal artistically and creatively is what helps me. It's like, okay, well, I want to shift to storyline, or I want to shift to color palette, or I want to shift to at different aspect ratios, whatever it may be.
Yeah, I mean, the narrative thing, would you say that like the new Danielle video, for example, would kind of be an example of that? Because, you know, you went in a pretty somber direction with that one, and it looks like you reached out to a lot of different people, you know, with photos of their past loved ones, and, you know, we're sort of telling a story with the subtitles and everything throughout the video too.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely say that's a narrative one. And it's just, that's one where it's like, I met this kid a year ago. He told me his whole story, and I listened to that song, and I was like, I need to shoot this. And his story is really deep, and it's sad. He was homeless pretty much his whole life, moving from shelter homes to shelter homes. And I was like, you know, if we just put out any other video to this kid that no one's ever heard of before, and it just looks like this polished music video, they might not understand or feel the message as much. So that was trying to evoke emotion. And we're going to shoot in LA, and but he's from Portland. And I was like, why would we shoot this heartfelt video that is so focused on his life and experiences in somewhere he didn't, you know, why don't we do it in his origin and at the locations in which he grew up? So that was just, you know, really dialing in on just the deeper meaning of him as a person, his family in that song.
You know, because of the diversity of the videos that you've done, I want to kind of address this more specifically. You know, you've talked about doing straight performance videos where maybe color palette and set design is more driving kind of the visual narrative, videos where you've got more of a narrative going on. But what drives you in a direction where you've got a really wacky or like surreal visual concept going on, whether that be like in a Juice World video where, you sort of like have his head kind of like, cut off and sort of like that larger set, or even like the new Snot video with the black and yellow hoodies and everything and the hoodies tied together. I mean, again, just like some really strange concepts that other directors aren't like really thinking of or putting out there.
I think our minds work in a lot of crazy ways, and I think imagination is really when you create the best painting. And with some of these things, it's like, well, let's create something that I've never seen before. I mean, I think it's good to have inspiration. That's natural. We all have inspiration from different people and different pieces of art, but like I don't know. It's just creating something strange and something new and something original. I think that's the biggest thing, is trying to create something original. And with like the Lucid Dreams video, I love that song. Obviously, I love that moment, but I don't like that video necessarily. But I remember we were shooting it. There was no budget or anything, and we're gonna shoot a video today. And I remember we ran to Home Depot. Me and Juice ran to Home Depot, and I was like trying to think of something we could do. I was like, your head coming out of a floor, the carpet, there's a hole in the floor, and we communicate that through like an outlet on the wall, but you're actually sitting on your knees, and there's this whole set. And that was just like a last minute, let's just make something. And then like a lot of the other stuff, that was like, I just shot we got a green screen poster board that we taped on the wall and shot some green screen shots that I just edited to make look and feel the part. But I mean, that wasn't at all a planned piece. We were just having fun. But so to go back to what I was saying, it's just trying to think of something fresh and original and new, and not really trying to fit in any different realm. I like really am against like super polished music videos, like incredible lighting, the perfect set. And I've had a couple videos like that myself that I've done, but if that happened, it was probably by accident. And when I first started working on like sets with crews and stuff, I remember working with the DP, and just telling him like, I don't want it to look like anything you've done. I know that's the shot you like because you think the lighting's perfect, and this is this. I was like, I don't want to follow any of these rules. How I got to where I am is from just having fun and just letting the energy and just the day fuel me. And obviously there's things you have to learn and follow by, but I wanted to break some of the standards.
This is a question that I'm having a hard time kind of phrasing, but I think it's probably going to be interesting to kind of hear your thoughts on this. But could you give us a general idea as to when you're approaching a project, approaching a new video, a song, and working with an artist, whether it be an artist that you're familiar with or working with for the first time, like where exactly does their kind of opinion and sort of onboard energy come into play with whatever it is like your idea is for a music video? Like, have you had to ask or sort of propose an idea to someone that's kind of crazy and maybe they're not into it, or you have to warm them up to the idea? Or have you had to change an idea mid music video because an artist isn't feeling it, or they're just like trying to drop it entirely? Like, what happens during those moments where the person who you're working with is maybe not into sort of the vision, and maybe you have to bend to that because at the end of the day, it's sort of their music video in a way?
Right. That's an amazing question. You got to be ready for audibles. I think that's probably one of the biggest things that I credit to my success is being able to be ready for any possible situation, any turn twist that may happen. There are times sometimes where, an artist, looks at playback of a scene you just shot and they're like, I don't like this, It doesn't happen. it hasn't happened too often at all, but there's been scenarios where you do have to be prepared to shift gears and to rework things. And that could happen on set. That could happen like while I'm writing a treatment and I send over an idea and they're just like, yeah, like this isn't me, or this isn't what I want to do. Or it could come down to the edit. I mean, there's a lot of different times in which things can, take that left turn. But it's, I think the biggest thing is always trying to take an artist out of their comfort zone, should be the goal. Like with Snot, he's one of my favorite artists to work with already. And we've only worked on those 2 projects, which were both very recent. But he's a pretty quiet dude. Like we hung out a few times before. He's pretty quiet and to himself. But, I wanted to kind of create this narrative around him in the storyline and put him in some of these shots. And he was super open to it. And there were some things that I noticed that he was uncomfortable with at times. Like, so you gotta kind of cater to the artist and understand that it is their video, and be able to move around and to adjust in these different spots. There was this, I don't even know if I should say this, but the Camelot video with Eneli Chapa, he's another one of my favorite artists to work with. His energy and his persona is so wild and loud and out there, and he's creative and he's really, really smart. And I wanted to recreate what's the Blink-182 video. What's the one where they appear as naked because pixelated? Is that What's My Age Again?
I think so, yeah. But I know which one you're talking about.
So if you watch the Camelot video, it's a one take. He wakes up and he goes to the bathroom and he brushes his teeth, and then he goes through his day. But I wanted to like have him start like he was in the shower and then getting out of the shower, and then he puts a towel on. But what we're going to do is we're going to put nude like spandex on him, and then we're going to pixelate it and make it appear as if he was naked. And he was all for it. At first he's like, oh no. And then he's like, this is amazing. Like I would love to. And he's the perfect person to do it and make that crossover, with someone who people identify as a street artist, but like someone who's like is pushing genres and boundaries and like in just entertainment. And we were going to do it, and then the label said that he was under 18, so like legally we couldn't do that. But it's about pushing those boundaries and trying new things. And luckily, thankfully, all the artists that I've worked with have given me little to no pushback on my ideas. But when they do, I appreciate it, because it always helps us get a better product. And you might be like annoyed in that moment, but then you're like, this is way better. I remember the night before the Bandit video came out with Juice and Youngboy, they cut out like four bars out of Juice's verse like the night before the video came out, and like I loved that part of the video, and it was like really hard for me. Yeah.
If a whole section of the song gets cut out, the whole part of that video gets cut out too.
Exactly. But I remember listening to that song for the first time before the video and thinking, damn, his verse kind of drags on a little bit long before that chorus comes back in. But once you get invested into the video creatively, you're like, oh no, I love it like this. But my initial thought actually listening to that song was, it's a little long in that exact area. So, things are always going to go how they're supposed to go. You just gotta let the day guide you, the week, the month, whatever it may be.
Okay. We're going to be throwing some fan questions at Cole in a second. I have a few more. If you guys want to submit some, we'll be popping in a few from chat in a little bit. And there is a Q&A tab underneath the video module on Twitch. Going off of what you were just saying, about sort of the process of hearing these songs, maybe even in an early stage or before they're altered at some point. I mean, in a lot of cases, music videos are dropping off of singles that have already kind of proven commercially to be hot. Although, I know there are a lot of instances where you're hearing a lot of stuff early on before it's like really kind of proven to pop off musically yet, Are you personally kind of taking a risk in a lot of those situations, not knowing whether or not, regardless of the video, is the song going to pop off. And I'm just kind of letting my own personal taste decide whether or not I'm going to embark on this project, or is it maybe like, I don't know, a little less risky because sometimes it's the label saying, well, regardless, this is going to be the single, so I mean, we can work together, we can not work together, but this is going to be the song we're pushing no matter what.
Right. It always happens a little bit different. I do always try to do videos for songs that come out with the video at the same time as the video, because I love that visual experience to be your first
first impression
of the song. Exactly, your first impression of the song. I think that's important. So really, like, artists kind of just send me a ton of songs that we just kind of go through, and they'll have their favorites, or they'll have their one, this is the one, and that they love. But usually it's just sending over a few songs, and I kind of listen and see what I like the best, and I hear about what they like the best, and we kind of go back and forth. But there's been instances where it's like, yeah, exactly, here's the next single, like, is it something you want to do? And there's some that I do and some that I don't. It's just based off of the feeling. There's also been videos or songs that have come out that I did the video for after the fact. That happens not too often, but it does happen. That could mean that I planned the video prior to release, or it could mean that the first time I ever heard the song was after the release. That does happen sometimes. So it depends on project to project.
And while I know at this point you could probably work with a lot of different people, and it seems like you're really kind of letting your taste and your artistic vision and your desires drive you at this point. I mean, it seems like from the outside you're doing what you want to do, but still having said that, are there any artists that you kind of like have on a bucket list of people who you really want to like work with or do some kind of visual with at some point, but maybe you haven't connected with them or whatever?
Yeah, I'd love to work with Kid Cudi. I'd love to work with Drake. I'd love to work with I really like Slow Tie. I like who else do I like? I like Joji. We've talked about doing something. I would love to work with I think working with Megan Thee Stallion could be cool, because I feel like she's bringing a lot to just her visuals. I don't know, her set design, everything. I mean, Colin Tilley's done an incredible job on those. I don't know. I think there's a lot of cool things that can happen there. Rico Nasty, her look is just incredible. Like, no one looks cooler than Rico Nasty. Like, she has the best wardrobe, the best hair, the best makeup. Like, me and her would do something crazy. So we've talked multiple times about doing something. We're just finding the right song. So yeah, there's a few people.
Okay. All right. All right. I'll get a few of these to you. They love for do wants to know, does Cole like the White Sox or the Cubs?
This is a good question. I never grew up. I didn't grow up a huge baseball fan, but like, if I had to be a fan of either team, I would have been. I've identified myself as a Cubs fan, but then the Sox asked me to do the first pitch, so I did that, and I'm a Sox fan now.
Okay, got it. Isaiah Skirt wants to know. This is probably a good question. When do you think the VMAs will finally acknowledge innovative directors like yourself?
I'm not sure. I think big award shows have their group of people that they revisit every year. Every so often they'll bring in a couple new people to consider. But yeah, man, I don't know how award shows work. I don't know if it's politics. I don't know if it's fan voted. I really don't know. But this is my first year getting nominated for any awards, and I didn't win any. So it was an honor, but I just I'm over it already. Not letting myself think about it too much.
If you're getting nominated, you're starting to break down the door. So I think you're well on your way. This next person, GDE Book 2. wants to know, and I saw you tweeting something about this earlier, I think, where you were saying that you're ready for 2021. This person wants to know what some of your goals for that year are. I mean, right now, are you doing a lot of like post-COVID planning, hoping the vaccine kind of clears things up? Are there any big projects that you've been holding off till next year, sort of things that you want to try next year that you haven't done before?
Yeah, I just signed a book publishing deal. So I've been writing this book, but that comes out probably like early 2021. That's like the timeline for that. But I'll be finished writing it all through early next year. I want to do a couple short films because I'm trying to enter that narrative world, and I really want to do a feature by the time I'm like 27, 26 would be crazy. But, that's a big goal of mine. There's a lot of different things that I'm working towards. I don't know if I have them all laid out to speak on right this second, though.
Okay. I knew something like this was going to come up, but OG Nick Marsh 666 wants to know, what are some music directors or music videos that are hugely influential to you? And I mean, considering some of your schooling background, I mean, feel free to throw in film directors too, especially since you seem to be kind of moving in that direction artistically.
Yeah, it's a good question. Music videos that they're. This is a good question. I love, obviously, I went back and dove into a lot of like Spike Jonze videos, Spike Lee, in particular videos. I loved Eminem's early on videos. I think he brought a lot to the table. I love what 88 Rising is doing with a lot of their artists and their videos. Chance the Rapper, growing up when I was a freshman in high school, I got put on to him and his music video director, Austin Besley, who, were doing stuff in Chicago, all DIY stuff that really, really inspired me. I'd say that was probably the biggest inspiration. And then film directors. So I probably didn't answer that first half of that question too good. I'm just bouncing all over the place. But film directors, Quentin Tarantino, I'd say, it's a typical answer. But I really like his determination. And, when he was working on Reservoir Dogs, which is his first feature film, there's this quote that he had said in an interview that really inspired me. He said, there were a lot of people on that set that knew more about filmmaking than I did. There's PAs that, production assistants that knew more about filmmaking than I did. But one thing that no one knew better to do than I was how to tell that particular story. And that was really inspiring to me. And I can relate to that in a lot of ways. So, yeah.
Just to dive a little bit deeper into that and some of the stuff you were alluding to earlier, like when you referenced back to that one, like Blink-182 video. And this isn't me like, trying to be an old guy and like, do like an old head call out or some shit or like, say, oh, you don't know this or that or the other thing. But I mean, do you yourself personally have like any kind of like affinity or like passion for what many people sort of deemed to be more of a golden age of music television, be that like 80s music videos or 90s music videos, whether you're talking about like, I don't know, some of like Jay-Z's 2000s stuff or like a Biggie Juicy or maybe even like a Nirvana Smells Like Teen Spirit or maybe even like some of the stuff Missy Elliott and Busta Rhymes were doing back in the day, which was just like absolutely wild.
Right. Yeah. I did forget to include Busta and Missy in that talk. And Ludacris too.
Yeah.
They are all huge inspirations for music videos for me. I'd say probably like, obviously I wasn't born yet or it's digesting any of this in the time, but like the 80s, late 80s into the 90s, I'd say it's probably such a cool and inspiring point to me because it's such a pivotal moment in the music video. I mean, if you really think about it, the music video really came about in like the 80s, right? I mean, if MTV was a huge part of pushing forward this whole moment. So just, the prime of MTV, I'd say, which I think people would argue 80s and 90s, I'd say that was probably what I view as like the golden age of like the music video. But I think we're coming back up on that, and we're seeing a new era of it. But yeah, it's just because it was new, it was fresh. People were trying to break boundaries, but they were doing it seamlessly because there were no boundaries, and it was just a new time. It was, music videos were a new thing still, and the budgets were like ridiculous. People were treating them as movies, and you could only watch them on TV. You had to be excited for them. You didn't have the access like people do on the internet to go watch it at any time. So I would have loved to be around during a time like that where, just the perception of a music video is like, way more valuable and intangible.
Do you feel like, in a way, it's been cheapened with the easier access or something, or just like kind of the plethora of videos out there?
No. I think it's helped. I think most of the artists that we've seen blow up in the past few years, a lot of it has been through music videos, getting to see their personality and their character and their situation and what they got going on. Being able to pick up a camera and shoot a video, an entire music video in your front yard or in your living room or down the street or in your basement or wherever you want to do. It's just like, this is the new era, the new age. This is how people are going to create. There's going to be people that started off with a DSLR camera, not knowing what they're doing, who are going to be directing feature films. You know what I mean? And that's beautiful. And this is the first time that will have ever been a thing, is this new easy access era of being able to, shoot a music video and put it out to the world and see what happens with it.
Yeah, I mean, one of the amazing things about, music videos that we already know, especially from videos of that era, is that if the visuals are especially good, like, people associate those visuals with that artist forever. You know what I mean? And, not to like create an egotistical moment or anything, but like, do you yourself see, I don't know, do you see yourself working up to a point where you're coming out with something kind of like on a thriller size of like presentation of narrative and costume design and, Right. I mean, when you're talking about kind of like the golden age of music videos and music videos that like have some of the largest cultural impact, that's kind of the level, that's almost kind of like, at the tip of the iceberg in a way, you know what I mean? Yeah. Do you feel like you're providing that same experience in a way for artists of this generation?
I would say so. I would say so. I mean, it's about creating a moment. I think, even Ski Mask Catch Me Outside, which was me and Ski walking around Times Square. And I just, was like, let's shoot a music video. And we just shot it. Like, people, that's still to this day a lot of people's favorite Lyrical Lemonade video of all time. And when people think Ski Mask, a lot of people think of that song and just the Chucky doll and everything. Like, and there was nothing. It was just us having fun. But like, in terms of like more organized and planned out, I think Godzilla is a great example of that, incorporating Mike Tyson and Dr. Dre and all the Easter eggs and, paying that proper homage to Juice. I think that was definitely one of those moments that can be remembered forever as like a classic.
Jamie V95 is asking generally, not to, in regards to artists who you've worked with or music videos that you've done or music videos that you like, but, who are just some of your favorite musical artists to just listen to, some of your all-time faves, some artists who, no matter where you are in life, you just always kind of see yourself coming back to?
That's a good question. It always changes with time. But I would say, let me look at just like something. Whenever I get asked a question like this, I need to go look. I'm a big Wiz fan. Like, I'll go back and listen, like Cushion OJ. Like, that's a tape I always revisit. Kids by Mac Miller. Always go revisit that one. Um, the Carter 3, all the Wayne mixtapes, Lil Wayne was a big one for me. The Kid Cudi, all of Kid Cudi's albums, even once people started to not like him, I was still on board. Generally, the era I'm talking about.
I do. What are your general feelings on like Kids See Ghosts?
I really enjoyed Kids See Ghosts, I think I loved Reborn. I think it's an incredible
Reborn's
song.
incredible.
Yeah. I didn't grow up like the biggest Kanye fan. Like I was listening to like 50 Cent like during that whole time. Like I was big into that side of things.
So during the Kanye and 50 beef, you were 50.
I was 50 at the time. Yeah. My first album I ever bought was Get Rich or Die Trying. My mom bought it. But but I went back and like found like a crazy appreciation for Ye and like, the early albums, and I love it all. College Dropout, Graduation, and also with Eminem. Like I wasn't a huge Eminem fan when I was a kid. I knew the hits, but one of my favorite things to play, like if I'm working in my office and I have this record player and I'll play like the Slim Shady EP or LP or whatever it is, and I could listen to the whole thing. I love it, but there's a lot that I went back and like got to reappreciate.
All right, well, man, this has been great. This has been a good talk. It's been fantastic just having a conversation with you and just getting to know you better and just getting a better understanding of your creative process and what makes you tick and what got you here. Chat also wants to know if you're into 100 Gex. Chat's always asking if Gex is an artist that our guests listen to for some reason. Are you into 100 Gex at all?
100 Gex. I'm honestly unfamiliar with who that is.
All right. Okay. Well, then Chat has permission to tweet Cole some 100 Gex and get him to check out 100 Gex. They're
new. 100 Gex?
What is it?
100 Gex?
I've
it's like something I should know right now.
I've interviewed both members of 100 Gex and I've reviewed their music and I think they're quite good. They might, if you listen to their music, they might even be an artist that you want to work with. I don't know. I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see. People send them your way. If you see 100 Gex popping up in your mentions, just check them out. Check them out. Give them a check out. And
it's crazy that we've been talking for an hour. Like when you're having a good conversation, you don't even realize how quickly time is going.
Well, thank you. That's very nice of you to say. Sometimes, an interview can feel a little too formal and a little too much like a chore. And if this has been a chill convo,
I loved this. This is amazing.
I loved it too. I thought it was great. Just two kings, two kings having a conversation.
Shit, man.
All right. Well, again, thank you. I know you're really busy and working on a lot of stuff, and I appreciate you making the time and just telling us everything that you can. And you're the best, man. Have a good one.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Keep doing what you're doing, and we'll keep in contact. And thank you for everyone that watched. This is awesome.
All right. Thanks, man. Bye.
Peace, bro.